never been to Nashville. Nashville is new to you. I can't find the builder. Your thing is lame, so lame. 'Cause everybody wants the same old thing. Same old thing. It's the same old thing, y'all. Same old thing.
Been an awakening. Have you felt it?
He's coming back.
I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me.
He's coming back.
What we're dealing with here is a complete lack of respect for the law.
He's coming back for you and for me.
The dark side. And the light.
Backstage with AJ Blues. The show most watched by SLED, Lexington County Major Crimes Unit, and Town of Lexington Police Department. And now the one you have been waiting for, the scourge of the music industry, the Vince McMahon of the blues. You can block him, but you just can't stop him from getting through. The one, the only, AJ Blues.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Happy Sunday to you. Backstage with AJ Blues on. I'm your host, AJ Blues. And it's been an interesting week. We're finding out more and more information as we go down the wild path of the chaos and corruption that we've been dealing with here. We definitely got some stuff going to be coming up this week too, so pay close attention to what we will release. You will not get that today. We will let you know that the Ken So Horny video apparently has made its wave, and the appeal that we're fighting, Ken Childs has been removed from that situation. So, how about that? I understand that Duff is really pissed with him, but, if you're going to come off being an old pompous guy and talking about how high and mighty your side is, then you need to hold yourself to that standard there, Bubba, because that's what you did not do, and you got caught. Oh well. On the plus side, there is a lot of graduations going on, and hey, you know what that means? Well, we'll cover this in a little bit. I don't want to jump too far ahead. I want to save something for Gene, as we'll have him on shortly, I believe. And right now, we're just going to get into it. Backstage with AJ Blues, underneath the DeLorean flag. Welcome aboard the DeLorean Falcon as we are taking off. So let's get to it.
Attention everyone. One.
Your local favorites are on now. Backstage with AJ Blues. Here's a little John Scollin for you, the Thirsty Musicians Fund.
I walk through the door tonight, my guitar in hand, prepared to pay my dues. The only one who spoke to me was a fairly friendly waitress hawking booze. She said the stage is over there.
Where?
Wait a minute, darling, let me move that table. Me set to rock about 9 o'clock and play me a little Bob Seger if you're able. I said okay, yes I'd be happy to oblige. I will sing your song and let you have your fun. Oh, by the way, I might demand some compensation, just a small donation to the Thirsty Musicians Fund. So I start my set and start to sweat when I find my first few songs are met with silence. Oh, oh. It's not what they came to hear.
So
More familiarity and less defiance. So I went on autopilot. I watched them drift away to Margaritaville, and all the brown-eyed girls that were some kind of wonderful. Little Hank and Elvis, Grateful Dead and Kenny Chesney, just about anyone who ever wrote a song with me. But that's okay. Yes, I'm still happy to oblige. I will sing your song and let you have your fun. Oh, by the way, I might demand some compensation, just a small donation to the Thirsty Musicians Fund. It's a Thirsty Musicians Fund. Well, the night is too soon come and gone. There's not too many tunes left to be sung. Just a song before I go. What a wonderful world. Please stay forever young. And then the last of their requests, some dire straits, some doobies and some doors. And then a lady fair with raven hair said,
leave us with a song that's one of yours.
I said, okay, I'd be most happy to oblige. I will sing your song and let you have your fun. Oh, by the way, I might demand some compensation, just a small donation to the Thirsty Musicians Fund. It's a Thirsty Musicians Fund. Oh, I'm so thirsty.
You won, the sun, but the battle's just begun. We kicking them down and picking them up, the wicked laser gun. They lie, evade, they pillage and they raid. Hypnotize, make up to baby, then they follow, then they rage. Here we go, it feels so right. And pushing with the plan, bringing forward all the knives. But we wanna take it slow, we gotta make it right. So steady with your hand, and skillful with your knives. And no city lights, just one city grave. I'll fill in all the streets, and the homes that we made. It's gonna be the day when you pay for the lives that you've taken away. So when we roll it down, we're gonna deal like we've been around. Light a roll and swallow down, laid away on the battleground. Yo, hey, we don't play when in the eyes of the battle ring. No break, night and day, we take it back, so we evacuate. Come on, move on, regroup and then be gone. For the captive babies, man, they can feel like no very far. But the past of Jones, but it's got forever dark. Forbidden from the people, never ridden in the roar. Here we go, it feels so right. And pushing is the plan, bringing forward all the knives. But we're gonna take it slow, we gotta make it right. So steady with your hand, and skillful with the knives. Stand them in the eye, you're gonna take his life. So power all your beams, of your lasers, get it right. You live and then you die, you better run and hide. When you're coming to the fight. So when we roll it down, we're gonna deal like we've been around. Light a probe and swallow down, laid away on the battleground. Yo, hey, we don't play when in the eyes of the battle ring. No breaks, night and day,
would make you hurt. And that kind of hurt you don't need. So hard, don't hurt. Oh, heart, this is your brain speaking. Run and hide, son. Let me hear your tires screeching. Push the gas, or straight through that floor. But oh, heart, don't hurt. Oh, heart, you know she ain't no good. Yeah, I think that's why. Yeah, you want her so much. You should see her dancing from behind. Oh, head down, yeah, grooving in time. Just don't catch that fever. And oh, heart, don't want her.
All right, that was Matthew Warren on Backstage with AJ Blues with Don't Want Her. All right, I think it's about that time that we start playing around here. Let's see what we can get going. And see if we can get Gene on the line.
Gas tax money, they ended up using it and giving it for perks.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the roads weren't fixed, and there are people that are complaining about that.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, what we have to do is we have one opportunity to make a difference.
And they're doing everything it's right now, but they're doing everything to take it away from us.
It's going to be June the 12th.
That's right.
June the 12th, though, people can make a difference. They can go to the polls. There are numbers of people. There are new candidates that are running for office. Some who have been fighting. Britton Wolf is one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Several that have been, you know, standing up and saying, you know, we want to make a change in South Carolina. And I said, you know, and I say this, South Carolina is really no different than, you know, corruption is just
it's
there. All over.
Oh, we know all about the corruption.
You pick up the paper and you read this and this. But we have an opportunity to make a difference. And we did it years ago. We held back.
Mm-hmm.
We got two things that I think, and I know that I was majorly known for. We took on the mill taxes.
I got 5 seconds. Go ahead.
We took mill taxes in Lexington and we defeated that hospitality tax. We need to defeat the taxes.
All right, thank you so much, Brenda. Thanks so much.
W2XL Columbia, W264DF. The selection and expertise for your next grill or smoker. This is 107 The Point.
Moving and eat better every day can help make your kids healthy. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council of NIUT We Can.
Early stage breast cancer, avoid chemotherapy. Majority of women tested didn't need treatment beyond surgery and hormone therapy.
We're not talking all types of cancer. We're not talking every woman. And people need to remember that. But if you're talking about sparing up to 100,000 women chemotherapy, that's a big deal.
Okay.
Dr.
So,
Jennifer Ashton is ABC News chief medical correspondent.
I think I can still hear that. Anyway, as we were waiting for Mr. Gene, Mean Gene, we know that he is in the he's in his third hour today. Yeah, he's putting in a long day today. So we don't want to... Normally I'd go ahead and break back to a song, but I know he's probably going to pop right back over here. He's doing a little commercial break so he can run to the party. I think we should aggravate him when he comes back. Yeah.
Did everything come out okay? Hello?
Anyway, where are we at? Hello?
I'm Nathan Ballard, market leader for Movement Force here in the Midwest. I work for a group of servant leaders who live out our mission every day. Love and value.
Hey, caller.
Hello.
Hey, man, how are you?
All right, upside down all around. How you doing?
Great. So we've got another minute, and then we'll bring you right on, AJ, okay?
Okie dokie.
All right, hold on.
All right.
If you're a small business looking to finance your business, make plans to attend the Access to Capital Symposium from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Wednesday, June 6th, City of Columbia, 1225.
See, that's why I didn't want to go ahead and do a song. I was figured to be back. I had the channel muted. Well, padded, whatever you want to call it. So did not hear him coming back. So.
I'm Melissa Sprouse Brown. Join me for the Senior Smart Show Wednesdays at 9. We'll discuss timely topics of senior care and education about many areas involved in caring for an aging loved one. Check out our website at seniorsmartshow.com. That's Wednesdays at 9 on
All right, so didn't swap out that either. Had to run to the little general's room. Telephone number here, 803-799-8255. I think I have this on high authority that AJ Blues will be joining us in just one moment, actually, as soon as I press the button. So we'll bring him on in just a second. But we're talking about this with Brenda. We're talking about the scanner problem. And it's really just wrong. I mean, it's just really bad. And, I don't know if you're from here. I'm from here. I was born, maybe 20 blocks from the station right now at Baptist Hospital. And grew up here all my life. Went to, oh, my goodness, the phone lighting up there. So we're going to go quick around and bring everybody in. But we think of them as locals, but they're not. They're not locals. They are almost an outside colonizing force. Whether it's if you want to go way back, if you want to say, hey, this reminds me of the problems with Reconstruction. This reminds me of when all that South Carolina beachfront property changed ownership from Beaufort and Charleston and Lakeview and Anor and Little Mountain to Ohio and Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York and Pennsylvania, and all these other foreign things. This has the smell of it, of reconstructive economic manipulation. So somehow our local toadies have given these people monopoly power, and we're suffering for it. AJ, hold on for a second. We'll go on to this person and then right to you. Right. Hey, caller, how are you?
Gene, this is Woody.
Hey,
listen,
Woody.
That woman, Brenda, I don't know if she's one of your paid callers or not. But, hey, that is the worst phone that...
Yeah, that is a horrible... That is a horrible connection. I tell you what. So I'm trying to get her in the studio. That's my goal, to get her in the studio so she can talk as clear as we're talking.
I started the call last hour to see if you could put me on while she was on, to find out if she's on a Bluetooth
no,
or
that's
on a speakerphone.
No, it wasn't a speaker. It's just a bad connection. And, people get excited, and I get excited too, and sort of overdrive the equipment. So maybe some of that was going on. But she's a darling person who has fought the regulators. She has fought people trying to take advantage of her and her friends, and she's won. And so thank God for people like her. But we're going to get her in the studio, so in 2 weeks or whatever, to be clear as a bell.
Well, please tell her to please get a new
Landline,
phone or do something. Because I'm sitting there, when I keep turning up, I'm trying to figure out what in the hell she's trying to say.
And it's worthwhile, too. It's all the right stuff. That's the deal. It's all the right stuff. And she's right on. The loan was insured. That does exist. They had meetings about this. They plotted the bailout. They said, gosh, if we bail out, we'll probably get federal money to bail us out of the project. All sorts of machinations have happened. There are minutes of meetings that were kept. It's not clandestine, cloak and dagger, secret stuff. It exists in the real world. We just got to uncover it.
Well, see, I didn't hear none of that.
Okay, well, it's there. Woody, let me let you go. I got to get one more person in before we go to AJ, all right?
All right.
Thanks so
all
much.
right,
Hey, caller, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hey, David.
You said something about AJ. I'm not AJ.
Yeah, AJ, right. You're David. But AJ's next. He's on the hook. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sorry about the interruption on the last
fine.
call.
That's fine.
I missed your response, but I did hear part of Woody's call, and it's like, so why was it that you found it necessary to be negative with regard to the previous administration?
Because that's who you compare things to. You always go back to the previous one. But, really? And this is weird. When I lived in Atlanta, I thought that Atlanta would compare the Atlanta news would compare themselves to South Carolina sometimes. Never. They always compared themselves to Alabama.
So you're saying that a standard operating procedure from your elk of the wood to be disingenuous?
No, to compare yourself to the previous administration.
But were you not misleading?
No, because it was. It is referred to as the jobless recovery.
It is referred to by whom as the jobless?
All right. All you have to do is go plug in jobless recovery, and you get President Obama's recovery.
So you have a dictionary of talking points, is what you're saying?
No, I'm using the power of those interwebs.
Really?
But I think you have a point. I think there's a. But
I know I have a point.
A good point. I think it's a good point.
Why are you resisting? Why then are you pushing back? Why then are you still forwarding this falsehood?
Well, it was a largely jobless recovery.
Really?
Really. But see, here's the problem. I don't have a producer, so I can't pull the numbers up. But how about this? I'll make you a promise. Between tonight and next week, I'll have the numbers for you. Okay.
Well, I might not be available next week now.
All right, you can listen to it. You can listen to it on the replay and call me back then, or send me a note.
I hear you. Now, before you make an assertion, shouldn't you have the numbers already, or the?
Well, see, here's the thing. I know what I have read, but I can't wave it in front of you right now, and I can't get them fast enough to do that. You know that. You know who won the football game. You might not remember the score at halftime, but you know who won the football game.
Well, I don't follow sports,
okay.
So I don't know the football game.
All right.
But anyway, the second thing I was going after you for on the last call was when you were bashing Richardson.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Bill Richardson, former
Bill Richardson.
Yeah.
And wasn't he secretary of something?
Energy at one point, I think, under President
Governor of New Mexico.
Right, he was governor of New Mexico.
Okay, now, just because the North Koreans did not capitulate and did not embrace that which was laid on the table, does not mean that there's like absolute incompetence or failure on the part of the previous administration, plural.
Well, that we didn't get anything. This is what happens with North Korea. They sword rattle, they make a big deal, and then the West gives them bunches of stuff. And the Clintons gave them nuclear technology and fuel oil, and I'm trying to think what the Obamas gave him. But it's always the West capitulates. We finally have a president that's like, well, you're going to wave your sword around? Hey, I got a bigger sword. Hey, mine works.
But speaking of games, the game is not over. No one has won, not even a touchdown.
Well,
okay,
yeah, in this, but let me run. I think you're probably largely right on this one, but all these failed people giving the current president advice, I don't think much of it, especially when they do it not through a letter, not through a call to the White House, not for some of their friends that still work in government, but they do it on ABC News. That means
how do you know they haven't? How do you know they haven't made those efforts?
Because if you did that, you wouldn't do it through ABC News later.
Not necessarily so, Gene.
Oh, okay. Well, we will have to disagree.
Because, you know, I'm gonna call you on it.
All right, call me on it, but it'll have to be next time. Let me run to AJ. Hey, AJ, how are you?
All right, how's it going out there?
Just wild. It's always wild.
I'm ashamed that you don't have those numbers handy. You should have those always handy.
Yeah, well, you know, I think I just have them papering my bathroom, so I always have them when I step out of the shower. I can actually see what.
Oh, they're not lining bird cages or litter boxes or anything like that.
Well, that's somebody said, "Did you read that in the paper?" And I said, "Gosh, I'm sorry, we don't sell fish out of the house, and I don't have a bird, so I don't have any use for that newspaper."
I tell you. Well,
I used to read when the Palmetto State newspaper was big, and on a Sunday it was like it had a half deflated football in it because it's so full of advertising. I used to read the paper, and then I stopped.
Well, I
never picked it back up again. It's like smoking. I mean, I've never smoked, but you have friends of mine that smoked for years and enjoyed it very much. And then one time they realized that hey, this is no good, and they stopped and never picked it up again. That's how I feel about the state newspaper.
Yeah, that's how I was with my ex-wife. Anyway.
Oh,
boom. Anyway.
Yikes.
Hey, so a lot of good stuff. I hear a lot of people celebrating this weekend, graduations and so forth. Which
is it wild? Are the crazy people?
Well, I haven't seen any evidence. Well, just maybe a little bit here and there, not much anything. They seem to be focused in being away, I guess. And there's always after every commencement, 6 weeks later, there's going to be fresh meat at the strip club. So you got to pay that tuition cost.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, we're full of them today. Oh, speaking of Ken Childs, he has been removed from the appeal case. So,
wow.
Yeah.
So there's some movement going on.
There is some movement, some shell game stuff going on now. And
but do you think you can make this stuff so painful for them that it won't ever happen again?
I guarantee you they're not going to forget the name AJ Blues.
Well, gosh, I haven't been able to forget that name for 10 years. Yeah. But do you think you can make it so painful that they never do it again?
Well, I'm trying. I'm working on some things.
A teachable moment.
I am working on some things that some of that will get released this week. In fact, I've got a list. You make the blues list, and that's not a good thing. So.
All right, hold on, AJ. We got to run to commercial video. Rip-roaring rapid commercial break and be right back. So hold on.
Okay. Let's see what he's got going on.
I would rather listen to my own voice. But I will take the calls, too. And Chris, we're in a commercial thing. We got 15 more minutes of program, and we'll be right back.
Okay. Boom, boom, boom. A little bit of Frederick Ingram, Ambiguous Adventure. We'll get a little bit of it before we get back.
Just waiting for the hook. Here it comes. Here it comes. We're getting there. We're good. Here comes the hook. Here it comes.
Hook.
Right here, right here, right here. All right, back with the AJ Blues. That's, goodness, Morgan James, along with her postmodern jukebox folks singing for us. So things are, there's some motion. Do you think that these weasels, what they're counting on is that you would just be forced to roll over?
Well, I know that's what they expected, because they had me in that position before, and even though I was fighting, it just really, there was no point at that location because everybody on the jury pool was related to something involving the case.
Oh, my goodness.
And it's kind of going to be like that again, I believe. But this time, hopefully we got a few things that'll take care of it. On that end, and like I said,
I tell you what, it's
I'll be releasing some more stuff this week. I'm going to share you a little bit of something here. I got another bill notice from the Bryan Center, and how they're threatening me with wage garnishment, property liens, tax withheld.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah,
Well, did you? I think you ought to have you or your attorney ought to write them a note and say, I need to find my consent form.
Yeah. My attorneys actually already talked to him, and they told him, they said, look, well, that's fine. Just most people don't pay it anyway. But see, I told him, I said they're probably going to do something like this. And sure enough, that's what's on the letter. And of course, they put in there, it is your responsibility for the balance.
Right.
I'm like, no, y'all kidnapped me, okay, and held me against my will. If anybody's going to pay for that, I think it's whoever signed off on it, which I did release that Friday the 13th phone call back out to the public.
I heard a lot of that. They were very unhappy. I forget the woman's name, but she's very unhappy having to deal with you.
Susan Harris.
You're the one that did that. Yes, you're the one that did this.
She's the one that signed off on it. Yeah.
Well, here's a question, and this is maybe from my point of view, what do you call treatment without consent? Called assault. That's what it's called.
Yeah.
What do you call touching without consent? Well, that's assault. So this is the state, or in this case, county or whatever, committing assault.
Yeah. And and then charging you for it.
Yeah.
So, it's going to be an interesting thing, and we're fighting. We're going to be fighting.
I don't know your situation, and I don't need to know. But let's say that you had full boat Cadillac Rockstar insurance. Whatever the Blue Cross Platinum Plus plan is, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Let's say you have that.
You know what my protective coverage is? It's a Barnett crossbow and a Barnett compound bow, and
Well, but I'm serious. Would they pay?
Well, yeah, they actually. Well, apparently
they would pay for forced treatment.
Well, apparently, because these people were asking me for my insurance, and I wouldn't give them nothing. I would not sign a consent, anything. So, and they said, well, that's fine if you don't sign. We'll just put you down as refused. Well, okay, and I refused, but they're still sending me the bills.
Well, here's sort of an interesting thing. I got a buddy of mine in Lebanon, Tennessee, outside of Nashville, and he's a jerk, but he's funny. And
like me.
I mean, I think that you're probably less of a jerk than he is. But he was in his cardiologist, and he needed an ablation and all this stuff. And he's a country boy too, and was living on a farm. And he said these magic words. when the physician was telling him all the cardiologist was telling him all the stuff he recommended doing, he said, "Well, if you're going to do all that, you might as well just take me out back and shoot me."
Yeah, I remember this story.
And the physician responded, "Are you planning on hurting yourself?" And that created 5 days of nightmare for him. And so you never know. You never know.
Yeah,
and
I do have some good news on this this week too. Dealing with this case, because I was looking over, and we were thinking that I had lost some rights. Definitely, they were trying. They're squashing my First Amendment, but they did not squash my Second. So,
wow. So
I
South Carolina obviously better than Tennessee on that stuff.
I was worried about that, but if I had been related to these people, yeah, they could have done it. And then that's the mistake they did on the paperwork too. They put down that we were related. Yeah.
Another wrinkle. I had a patient of mine who got popped for something that did not happen. It did not happen. Did not happen.
Mm-hmm.
3 years later, it gets dismissed. So he's been living in limbo, had to pay attorneys and all this stuff for 3 years for something that did not happen. And you're like, come on. Where's that right to a speedy trial? Where's the right to all these things? Practically, it's not there. It's good to tell kids about, but it's not there.
I hope he's got a good lawyer and suing him about that.
Well, because they dismissed the case, there's nothing to do. It's a weird thing. But what they did was they basically, it was dismissed with something else tagged along that kept him from going back against law enforcement or the complaining party. I mean, it's just a mess. There's a bunch of stuff that's like that we as Americans, how we're raised. And it's just like the civil asset forfeiture. Some Albanian people from Albania that were working in America saved up like $58,000, and on a connecting flight for their ultimate overseas departure to buy a resort, a vacation house in Albania or Romania, I forget which one of these Eastern republics. Customs stole their $58,000 life savings.
Holy crap.
Civil asset forfeiture. And now they're fighting to get it back. So it might cost them half of what their life savings to get their life savings back. And that's not a country that you want to live in. That's a mafia state.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things like what you're going through and what other people have gone through. And you wonder, you go, well, that's not my second grade civics. That's not my high school civics.
I like how you brought up the mafia. I like how you brought that up because that reminded me of something. One of the guy, this one guy that keeps really has it in for me. He's a sled guy or whatever. And I Googled his name a while back, and it actually showed up as an actor from Jersey or New York, whatever, that was on The Sopranos. I was like, okay. And and then the investigator that is on the warrant, it's an Italian name too, and same thing shows up with that kind of search too. I said, well, hell, I got mafia guys here and law enforcement coming after me, I guess. And
I think our Italian American friends and stuff, they're less connected to the mafia than some other folks, and that's a thing that they've been tarred with is a lot of the feelings that we have for this Italian mafia. It's worse in other communities, and we just don't talk about it.
And
still, go ahead.
And people, I don't want people to get the wrong thing because everybody thinks that I'm just always negative on it. No, I have praised law enforcement. I support law enforcement. I support them having the proper tools and the proper knowledge to do their job. I even shared this, something that I saw on Facebook. They said, I bet no one shares this, and it was about supporting local law enforcement. And I did, and I also added to it, though, I'd like to welcome and all of the law enforcement that's trolling on my page as a way, and I hope that they find the wasted tax dollars just as amusing as I do. But and I try to keep everybody entertained, as I've been putting more funny stuff out.
Here's the thing: let's say that you're a regular law enforcement guy, that you're a true believer, that you are a guy that just like the firemen and women. I think it's hard to be a disingenuous fireman. Yeah, I'm going to go run into your house and I'm going to pull your kids out and maybe save your dog, and the building's going to collapse on me, but I'm going to take that risk to do that for you. I don't think that those people are disingenuous in any way. That if you're signed up to do that you can't be, that is incompatible with being a bad person. If you're going to go into a building and pull somebody out of it, that is highest level of honorable work that you can do. But on some of this other stuff, I wonder how the true believer law enforcement feel when they read this stuff and it's so one-sided against you and it's so bizarre. And if you know anything about this, you're like, wow, this is a big overreach. They're just making this stuff up. How they feel that they're part of it.
Well,
I wonder, Josh. I mean, how would you feel? If you were working. Let's say that you were working for SCANA, and SCANA was doing all this dirty stuff, but you're not at a decision level making thing. How do you feel about that? Well, I can tell you how some of them feel. Some of them are darn ashamed, and they're really worried about their friends and neighbors and what their friends and neighbors think about them.
It's like any job that I've ever had or done. If I didn't fully believe in the good of the product that I was working with or whatever, I couldn't honestly do it. And, I'd be miserable. And I'd have to find something else. And,
oh, my goodness. We've killed the hour. AJ, thank you so much for being part of the program. Thanks so much for Brenda and our friend David. Thanks for all the callers, all the comments on the Internet. Always appreciate it. This is not Russia, but Russia might be better. Catch you on the flip side.
All right, man. Have a good one. And we're out with Gene. And he is still on Facebook if you're interested. So if you might be hearing background. Right now we're going to turn the lights down with Kelly Cheats on Backstage with AJ Blues.
Summertime, sunset behind your face. I couldn't be in a better place. Well, I know what's on your mind, yeah, 'cause I'm feeling it too. Oh, so what you wanna do? Baby, turn the lights down. Baby, turn